Greetings, friends, and welcome once again to Tinker Tailor's Solder Fry, the Let's Try program here on the mighty Loading Ready Run Video Entertainment Network. My name's Ian Horner, and joining me as always, but this time visually, is Paul.
Why, hello.
Happy to have you here.
The crystal gondola has moved very close.
Yes, it's invading the space, warping it. Turning it into, well, and we got this background here and everything. Thank you for setting this up for me today while I was
No problemo.
Yeah, happy to have it. But happy to have you here as well, watching at home. And of course, if you are enjoying what you're seeing, why not head on over to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun to toss us a few bucks monthly. Really helps us out. And it not only really helps us out, it literally drives what we do here. So if you enjoy us doing what we do and continue to want to enjoy doing what we do, and you can, do not donate beyond your means, but we are always happy to receive your support, whatever form it takes, at Patreon, Twitch, or at store.loadingreadyrun.com, where there's some, the new secret t-shirt has been unveiled.
Right.
Unveiled.
Yeah,
yes.
right. The some folks found the Persona style logo t-shirt.
Looks really good, and I have to say, big credit to our fans for figuring out the secret and then being concerned that it was somehow a bootleg t-shirt that we didn't know about somehow. So get yourself one of those. Get yourself a scarf or a mug. All sorts of good stuff over there at the store. But one thing they don't sell at the store is gaming hardware. Wow, that was a segue and a half. As you may or may not know, if you're we have a lot of program here on the channel, and one of the things I do personally outside of this particular program is once a year I like to sit down and drive around a certain track in France for 24 hours. It's nothing special. There's just a historical race that also goes on during the same time that I do that.
Yeah,
but
every once in a while, you just gotta drive around a track in France.
You just gotta sit down for 24 hours and not do anything else. And I've been doing that now for 10 years, and I figured it's time to put it to bed while it's still warm. I will be doing more driving in the future, but thought it would be a good time to because there's no time during the race itself. I've stupidly every year come in. This year, I came in 15 minutes early. To start the stream and give people a little bit of heads up. But usually it's been get online and get immediately to the starting line, which is kind of like the way the race used to be. They used to have to run across the track to their cars.
I like that. They don't do that anymore?
They do not do that anymore.
Because people would not clip in and stuff before they start. Like it would be dangerous.
People would not clip in. People would also attempt to clip through other drivers as they were still running to their cars, which doesn't really work in real life.
So, it works, but it's
a huge safety issue. And so they don't do that anymore. They have a proper grid, but I would come in and just get directly to it. And so that's what we're going to do here. I'm going to show off some of the hardware that we've been using and how it's changed over these 10-year periods. And we're going to go through the software as well and see how that's changed over 10 years, because some things have gotten newer and some things have stayed the same. And it's been a wild ride.
Now, you were talking about that you do the LRRMans thing once a year.
Mm-hmm.
How much racing do you do on the off season, which is 364 days?
Yeah.
It's a long off season.
I mean, the race itself tends to reignite passion in me directly afterwards, but unfortunately, it is kind of difficult getting this rig back and forth to my house. I don't do it all the time. I would say, let's say about half the months of the year, I've got that rig out, and when I've got it out, it's probably daily or so for a few weeks, and then I'll put it away and get busy on something else.
And there's no point in playing racing games without the rig, eh?
No, well, not really.
You don't like mouse and keyboard play? I don't know. I know actually. I guess just keyboard.
It's certainly not mouse and keyboard, but controllers. Really popular with people, and I've done them a few times. But I've got this big rig. I've got these wheels. Why not use it if I've got them? It just again does take effort and time, because it is heavier than you might think.
Well, I guess it's gotta have a pretty good substantial mass behind it to deal with not only the the tension of driving, but also it's got all the force feedback stuff.
Yeah, exactly. You want to eliminate flex from it because that's going to go all over the place on you, and you've got to eliminate the ability that it's going to wander around the floor while you're playing too.
Right, and you're, especially with the pedals, you are effectively pushing it away from yourself.
And this is one of those things that has actually changed over the years based on how we've been driving and how we've been setting up. That's required new and innovative methods. But let's start off with the beginning, the first year. And I'm just going to bring up an image here for us all. Xbox 360 wheel. Because this was what we started driving on. Oh, good lord. Oh, good lord. Let's bring that over into the booth here.
The gameplay is what I want.
Yeah, that's right. There we go. So this is what we started on. This is a piece of equipment that I brought over from Alberta that I was still using there when I was still playing on an Xbox 360 at the time.
So, but then this also works on a PC with the Xbox 360 controller adapter.
In fact, it has a USB. It isn't wireless by nature, so it just has a USB plug because that was the first generation where we got reliable USB plugs on all the devices. And it had force feedback, but unfortunately, the big problem with this wheel is that the force feedback didn't work properly onto the PC. So it would just be constantly fighting you, pushing back to go back to a center thing, not actually giving you the feedback of what the forces would actually be in any sort of a turn.
It was. Oh, I see.
Yeah, and the pedals were a little bit wheelie. They were the loop around the front end here. You can see that's actually an incredibly good design, because what happens is you put your heel in there, and that'll keep the pedals from moving forward as you push down on them.
Oh, that's good. Yeah.
Super handy. But we found out pretty quickly during that first race 10 years ago that this was not a viable method for racing, even for 24 hours.
Because it would just be fighting you all the time.
It was fighting me. The what do you call it? The resolution wasn't quite where it should have been either. It was, I guess, a lower resolution for the steering. And so it's just a bad time all around. You go back to that first year and you'll see crashes abound until about halfway through the race, because through a Herculean effort between Corey, Beej, and chat member Texan Reverend, they found a way to find a much better wheel for me to use, get it delivered, and get it into the studio before the race finished.
Wow!
So that was a tremendous gift from Texan for that.
In less than 24 hours.
Yeah. And even before we went into the early mornings of a Sunday morning too, which would be even harder. But yeah, I managed to find one of the local Best Buy, pre-purchased it across border.
I love that. That's because, in the Le Mans race, pit stop and having your entire steering column replaced is something that could certainly happen.
Shouldn't, but definitely is a possibility. And that kind of saved the race for me. That was my first 24-hour stream that I'd ever done, and saved the fun for me and made me definitely want to come back and do it another year, and just kept doing it until I've aged out of 24-hour streams. Is what's really happened here.
It's true. Yeah. It is a young man's game.
It sure is. I was talking with Cameron about it the other day, and he was thinking, I haven't done one of those in a while. And sat down to think about it. And even just the thought of sitting down and committing to it gave him physical symptoms as well. So I think, it's a young man's game, as you say.
What was the racing game that you were playing on 360?
So I was playing standard. At that point, it was Forza 3. It wasn't even Horizon. It was just straight up Forza Motorsports. And rather than an open world game where you do races against people that you meet up with on roads that exist in an area, it was just your standard racing game with a set of tracks and a set of very well modeled cars. The people turn 10, I think it is. The developers do I've got a little niggle in the back of my brain thinking, okay, got to keep an eye on those guys during this whole Microsoft Studio closure thing. I don't think that they're in the crosshairs, because those those Horizon games are huge moneymakers for them as a service game. But
right.
yeah, always got to be wary because they do make fun games that are fun to drive and are reasonably accurate.
What you got to worry about is if somebody high up at Microsoft starts talking about how much they think the Horizon games are excellent
Yep.
and how much they think that kind of game is exactly the kind of game that they should be doing.
Yep.
That is the death knell. Apparently, that's the death knell for a studio, as if the higher ups like you
Yep.
and talk about how great you are. You're already on the chopping block.
Do not be noticed by senpai there. But yeah,
Yeah.
those games themselves were actually a response to the Gran Turismo games on the PlayStation, which were the first of the simulation arcade games. I guess you could
Right,
say.
where it's sort of going for a more realistic.
Exactly, yeah. Rather than just a fun spin around a track. And the first one of those was on the original Xbox, and that got me hooked when I was still living in Japan doing. They used to have hill climbs as a category of race. So they'd set up these roads on Japanese mountains that were fictional for the most part, but would provide a really interesting, well, at least for a new racer, racing uphill makes it a lot easier for you to control your speed because you'll be slowing down a lot faster as you pull off the gas.
Now, in my recollection of the times that I've come in here and done the Le Mans track with you, the Le Mans track is pretty flat, eh? Like it doesn't really like it's got all sorts of twists and turns, but it doesn't go up and down.
Yeah,
much.
there's really only one area that has an elevation change of any significance, and that's the Dunlop cut right at the top, or as we refer to it here, the Dunlop chop, named after some pretty egregious track cutting that Graham put together in one of the earlier years. But yeah, there's a very small hill up there, and if you take it at the wrong time, physics gets in the way, and your tires don't stick as well as they should.
Oh, okay.
But I figure we should get the actual hardware out so we can discuss that. Too.
Okay. Yeah,
Let's,
yeah.
Bring up the force cam. Yeah.
No, it's not the. It would be. Did we?
I think we might have not added it. So what I'm going to do is just go to for now.
Just add it as like a new.
Add it. Okay, sure. That's an easier thing to do.
And just add exist. Yeah, it looks like I think it's actually already loaded somewhere, but just
Okay,
not here.
great. And then we're going to put that
Hey.
underneath us. Everything.
It's our laps.
Except that. There we go. Let's bring out the beast. This is what I guess you could call the final form.
Now, I remember a couple of Tinker Tailor episodes a few years ago of you doing some adjustments to this.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here right now. Oh, wait, sorry. Oh, thank you. Good. So, we can now see the whole beast here as it stands. This is what originally got brought to us. This is the Thrustmaster TMX, which is a
The Rust Master.
yeah. Well, Thrustmaster has a long history with me, going back to my Macintosh gaming days. The first joystick I ever owned was, in fact, every joystick I've owned has been a Thrustmaster of some form. Now that I think about it,
Yeah, I think I have a Thrustmaster, or I had a Thrustmaster gamepad that worked really well until the rubber coating started going sticky on me.
that's the hallmark of mid 2000s electronics.
Yeah.
But comes with it is a wheel unit. Normally, it'll clamp to your desk with this little clamp on the underneath, and that's what we used for the first few years as well, along with the original pedals that came with, which I have donated back into the world. I just remembered there was another stage to this. The pedals that come with are, again, just fairly easy spring pedals. There's no feedback on them. There's no sort of adjustments. But what we like about the TMX and why we got it is twofold. Number one, it is a force feedback wheel that doesn't break the bank. I believe you can get these very much under $200 in the US. And it provides a It's not a direct drive like the newer wheels can be, but if you want a direct drive, you're probably looking at about $300 to $500 just to get in the door without even a wheel itself on the front of them. This uses a hybrid belt system, which provides tension to the wheel via a secondary rubber belt inside and a motor, and that does well enough for me to get the feedback I need in order to drive.
And that, as you're saying, the Xbox One was just fighting you the whole way, whereas this one is actually based on what the car is doing on the track.
Yeah, a little more, yeah.
And it is, and I assume that's a function of the software. Like the software just tells it's not a built-in
No. It's
intelligence in the wheel.
It's got to be something in the software, and then the software also has to be hooked up to the force feedback correctly in the and tuned for the way the car responds too.
So there's a tuning process you have to go through.
Well, that's all done by the developer on their end.
Okay, yeah.
And you can turn it up and turn it down for your own comfort levels, but I pretty much keep it at the default levels because that's how it's meant to be played. So that's what we got to start with. And that was good for a few years. And the second reason it was purchased for me is because Texan knows that I like to do modding on a show that I do called, Hey, Tinker Tailor Solder Fry. That's this one. And one of the things that this wheel is good for is modifications. It's very easy actually to take off this wheel. In fact, there is an episode where I've done so. You can see me tear this whole thing down.
Right.
And there's just a cord that leads up to the wheel. You unplug that, and then you can swap 3D print or purchase, if you need to, a adapter for regular car wheels, which this is. This is a deep dish used for mainly drifting type things. But I've also added onto it another piece of technology, which is this button board up front. These are not stock. That came from me wanting a side of buttons here on the side, over here, quite frankly. It's just a way of controlling some of the other aspects of the car. Because when you take off this wheel, you lose your D-pad, you lose your buttons, you lose all your other stuff, and you need to move that control somewhere else.
And that's for like saying you want to pit and doing and switching views and doing all that kind of stuff. Yeah.
And if you, depending on how deep into the simulator well you're going, you can actually adjust suspension tension. You can adjust your fuel mixture as real professional car drivers do. But that required me to also put a Arduino Pro Micro in here. I can't show you because it's kind of in between the two things hooked up here.
I remember that episode of Tinker Tailor, yeah.
But yeah, that's just there to emulate the electronics inside this box, and it works rather well.
So why is that not currently on the...
The reason it's not on there is because, as you asked earlier, I had been playing some racing games at home before coming in, but I wasn't practicing for LRRMans. I was playing Forza Horizon 5. And unfortunately, at least in 5, I don't know if they fixed this for 6 yet, but if you're driving a car that has a flappy paddle gearbox with these, you can't use the H shifter. You have to use the flappy paddles. Forza doesn't have that, or sorry, not Forza, Assetto Corsa doesn't have that restriction to it. So we got the wheel, we got the bigger wheel, and that was still clamped to the desk. And at a certain point, then I'd found different pedals. These are not those pedals, but I
These
do
look like very substantial pedals.
These are. I do like to go to thrift shops every now and then, and there was an upgraded set of pedals for a Logitech wheel, which had better springs. It had the clutch, importantly, which the other one didn't. And I thought, hey, let's use that. So I yanked the cord off, just cut off the proprietary connector from Logitech, and made a new connector to stick it in the back of the wheel. Boom, instant upgrade. And then we went on a little further and found these Thrustmaster. I can't remember the name of them, but they are also Thrustmaster based.
Maybe if we turn, it's just being blocked by the bar there.
There's a reason for that, but those are the pedals.
Right.
They come down like this.
Oh, that makes sense. I was gonna say, how do you use the pedals with your knees?
Yeah. And what's special about these pedals is, in addition to them being all metal and being much more adjustable, the brake system uses a load cell
Oh yeah, I see
So
that.
it's
Yeah.
not just a section of how. It's not about how far you push the brake anymore. It's now about how hard you are actually pushing on the brake. And then it allows you to swap out the springs that are on there as well. If I twist it, you might be able to see them a little bit there. Yeah, there you go. You can see that little red thing down near the end. That's an adjustable spring component. And then the little silver stuff in the middle, that's just the actual load cell itself. And so it pushes down on there, and that records how much force is being put on the brake at any one time. Very nifty.
And that gets put through as part. Now, this is my ignorance of cars. That's how brake pedals actually work, I assume.
That's more like how they work. Yeah, the gas pedal is it is on a curve, but essentially the farther you press the gas pedal, the more the throttle opens on the engine, and that allows more air in, and that makes you go quicker. The brake, when you push a brake, that's pushing on a pneumatic cylinder, which then transfers that pressure to the brake master cylinder, which is possibly my favorite DJ name, actually.
So the brake is not just the distance you pushed it, but how hard you're pushing it makes a difference.
It's more about the pressure than it is about the distance. You know, you are going to get more brake as you push farther down on the pedal, but that's a function of you compressing more fluid behind it rather than it being just a linear. Farther down the pedal is more brake.
All right.
You can in fact tune your brakes such that you don't barely move it at all if you like that sort of thing. That could be your maximum braking. And of course the clutch is there because I like to pretend that I'm actually able to drive these things in manual.
Of course, that's with the flappy gearbox. You wouldn't be using the clutch. Right?
Exactly. Yeah. Because I like to shift, I ended up getting a this is, I believe, the Thrustmaster Theta, I think. They make two, but they're both basically the same thing. The nice thing about this is it uses a Hall effect sensor in the bottom of it to transfer the information rather than a series of switches when you're in gear 1, 2, 3, or 4. It's kind of like its own little joystick.
Now, this is like 3 independent USB devices.
Correct.
Which are dealt with. So it's not like they all connect together and then go in. They all are actually 3 different devices.
You could do that all through the wheel. Not sure if it's visible through, but back here, just imagine that there's 2 or 3 phone jacks. And right back here. They look like phone jacks, but
they're
the key...
RJ11s or whatever?
Well, no, the actual key on the jack itself has been pushed over to be flush with one of the sides so that you can't use a regular phone cable with it. They just look much like it.
Because that would give us joy.
Yes. But the reason you don't do that is because that means you're running all of your polling through one device. And if you want the most resolution, you want each of those devices to use as much USB bandwidth as it can.
Really? Even on like USB 2 or USB 3?
Yeah,
you're bandwidth constrained on the polling?
You get, because it has to be processed by the stick and then all sent out. So it's essentially adding another processing layer to the whole system. And I don't think it actually really adds anything more to the setup because finally I got to the point where I said I don't want to have to haul out the wheel and the shifter and the pedals and clamp the wheel to my desk and clamp the shifter to my desk and clamp the pedals down to the ground. I want to be able to, take the whole rig and just shove it in the closet when I'm done with it. And so that's what this big old metal thing is.
Is this a custom thing, or is this a driving wheel device that they sell?
Specifically made for this. And there's a number of them that you can get. You can get them with integrated chairs into them that are kind of like a lawn chair. You can get ones where you just have a base where you're meant to bolt down an actual car chair into it for a more lying back sort of driving position. This one's meant to be used with standard chairs or just standard chairs is a...
And having it being sort of foldable and stuff is super handy.
Yeah, as you can see, it can get relatively flat, not completely flat. But the only other addition to it then that I've given myself is adding a USB hub to the bottom of it. Because we have the one USB thing, we had the second USB thing, and when we had the button box, we had a third, so we had 4 full things needed in there, and that almost filled up the hub. But no longer. Now we've just got the 3, and that's fine. And then, of course, the panoply. You've got the panoply of zippity whiz bangs here to keep the cabling all nice and clean. So this, thankfully, is this rig was not as expensive as one would think. They're in around the $150 and if you don't have the space, if you're like me and you live in a condo, you don't have the space to have this sort of thing out full time, it really makes a difference in being able to pack it away.
You could if it's in a closet or under your bed or something.
The problem is that the one thing that it does not fit in is an Austin Mini.
Ah, how ironic.
Very.
The one thing it doesn't fit in is a car.
And believe me, I have tried. So every time I need to move this thing, it's a matter of going down to the local ride share and booking a car to put this thing in the back of. But it doesn't take too long to get home, so I'm willing to do it at least twice a year. But I guess with that out of the way, unless there's any specific questions that you've got there, or I think it might be in the chat, I think it's time to plug it in and start talking about software.
Alrighty.
Yeah, so let's get that on the way here. Yeah, that's right. Single plug for the USB, but we get that. We plug the USB in after we plug the power to everything else. This is normal calibration. It happens every time it's given power and every time it plugs in.
I guess it needs a separate plug. It's with the force feedback and stuff, it's pulling quite a bit more power than the USB can give it.
Quite a bit more. And it uses technology similar to an old mouse, in that it's using an optical sensor with a big wheel that has slits through it.
Oh, nice.
So,
here, why don't we?
Yeah, let's bring us back to the regular booth. All right. Let's plug this into the correct.
Yeah, watch the. You're just bumping up against the power plug.
Perfect. I mean, not perfect, but can't go any farther than that. All right, we should have one more once it figures its life. There it is.
Imagine if your actual your car did this, turn on the gas, put the key in, turn it on, and then the steering wheel just spins one way, then spins the other way, and then goes back, and calibrates itself.
I could honestly see that being a high-end car feature. Some of the high-end cars, they'll do the thing where you turn it on and the needles for both the tachometer and the speedometer will do the whole sweep all the way up to top and then back down to bottom.
Right.
I think that looks really cool, but doesn't really do anything.
No. I can imagine like a Tesla or something where, because it's all electronic anyway, right? It's not actually connected to a drivetrain, so it could just be doing whatever.
Definitely. That's to mention that my favorite rig that someone has put together for their sim racing that they've done fully DIY is they figured out how to extract the wheel and pedal positions from the OBD2 port in their BMW. So what they do is they just park their car in their garage and they have a big ol' arm that, like a basketball hoop, that brings down this huge LCD panel in front of the windshield, and he just plugs in his computer into his car, and does it from the from the comfort of an actual vehicle.
But then they have to make sure that the car isn't
yes,
engaged.
Not actually on. I'm pretty sure there's an ODB setting that you can use to keep that from happening. But
I was thinking you put it on a rolling car, a rolling road, right? It'd be like one of those Like, you know, we have like a convertible like bicycle that you can like switch it into an exercise bike by putting it onto the thing.
Yeah, then you just got to make sure that you're definitely gaming with your garage door open.
Right. Yeah.
All right. One more thing I want to mention, hardware-wise, is... And this is an important one. We talked earlier about clamping the wheel to the desk as being a solution. And one of the reasons why that was such a bad idea is that the vibrations of the wheel go into the table. And we've very recently been starting using microphones that also clamp to the table, meaning you would get all the sound of the verp back and forth and bugga, bugga, bugga.
Well, I remember also back in the day we would have the tables we would have were like those like IKEA tables that were not they're really substantial,
not well
in terms of
clampable.
clamping. Yeah.
So there's a danger there too. And so, you're right. You're absolutely right. For years, we would be pushing with our pedals, but also then because we're on these rolling chairs,
right.
you'd have to grip and hold on to the steering wheel, pulling yourself towards it, which is hard on the wheel and hard on the body for 24 hours too.
It's like when you're like a hockey fight, you know, where you got to hold the guy and then punch with the other hand.
So for the last few years, it's been we've been experimenting with different ways of keeping the chair from going backwards. 2020 was an interesting one because that was the first year I had to do it from home. Because there was just no way I was going to be able to get everything into the office, and the office was closed down completely at that time. But the next year, 2022, I think I had my bass guitar in the office for some reason, probably a Loading Radio Live bit, and ended up using that to brace against the back wall here, where the green screen is.
Oh,
It was just far enough that it would hit the back legs of the chair.
that would have been the old office.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, that would have been there.
Which was also shallow.
Little shower.
Yeah.
And then previous to this year, I ended up using, we started keeping the sandbags in the office a little bit more.
Right.
And so I just bring out 4 sandbags, lay them down, and put the chair on top of those.
Could you? Wouldn't it be easier just to not get a non-rolly chair?
It sure would. Do you know if we have any of those in the office?
I guess other than like the ones in the kitchen, which are not really.
I wouldn't want 24 hours in those. That's for sure.
People don't really make non-rolly computer chairs very often. I guess.
No, I guess not. I'm just checking the chair now. No, you've got these chairs have the gas cylinder which goes down below the chair, almost rides on the ground. So we couldn't even take the wheels off and just lay down on that. So I did eventually come up with a solution, and that's 3D printing, a little chair chalk, and this just is designed to be the radius of the feet, or specifically wheels, so it doesn't cause too much undue stress on the chair. And I have the same chair at home, so I can use this at home or when I'm in the office.
So do you just need one, or do you put you put 5 under it?
I've been able to get by with just one. I think I'm going to move to 3 going forward, but it's pretty easy. You just slap it down directly in front of the wheel, kind of position yourself in, and then move the... It's easier when the mic's not in the way. And then slide yourself into position. I would have got in from the other side of the chair, because my leg is not now. There we go. And that provides just enough force.
It just adds a bunch of friction to the whole thing.
Exactly. So that's the hardware as it stands, I think, completely. I don't think I have anything else.
You're saying, do you normally also have a button panel here?
We used to have the button panel because that was a replacement for the buttons that are actually on the wheel.
But now that you have buttons on the wheel, you don't need it.
Exactly. And then now that I've got buttons on the other wheel,
right,
I can just use those as well.
So for the actual LRRMans this year, were you using this wheel, or
yes.
you were using this one, not the?
Yes. I figured it would. It means I wouldn't have to swap the wheels back. It is easy, but it's not. It's not nothing to get this open. And I hadn't chosen a car until I think the night before, actually. And I wanted to keep the options open in case Corey wanted to do a flappy paddle car as well, because that would be fun for her. But unfortunately, I ended up choosing the Toyota 8086, which is stick shifted.
Because a lot of my experience or a lot of my knowledge, my small knowledge of cars comes from Top Gear. Was that called a flappy paddle gearbox before Top Gear started calling it that?
I don't know if it was, to be honest. I mean, the correct term is DCT, or dual clutch transmission. But you can make dual clutch transmissions with a stick shift that just goes back and forward as a linear shifter, like they do in rally cars.
Right.
And so I think maybe that's the idea: is to differentiate the flappy paddle from the linear as a shifting means.
Anyway,
the interesting thing about the linear shift is it's something I've considered for myself, because we've got this Mini, and I've been thinking, for a while, but maybe I should swap the engine out for something a little bit more performant. And one of the things you can do that's the easiest change is to put a motorcycle engine in the Mini. Because it turns out
that would actually be an upgrade from the current engine?
Oh yeah. Yeah. Their motorcycle engines can get very beefy and very quick. And of course, the Mini being very light and small, it makes for a good match, actually. The problem being is that if you do that, motorcycles don't have a reverse gear. So
I guess not.
Yeah. Well, except for a few. There are a few that do. The Honda Goldwing in particular, but that's just because it's huge. But what people will do in that situation is they'll install an electric motor into their Minis.
A separate motor.
Specifically for reversing, and that's it.
Ooh.
And which I guess at that point turns it into a hybrid car. Maybe I should look at the rebates for that. But that's not the car I have.
I feel like when somebody has a hybrid car, the intention is not just that it only uses the electric motor when going backwards.
You're not. Yeah. No one said anything about follow-up questions here, Paul. I just said that I have a hybrid car. It has an electrical motor and a gas motor.
I have a hybrid car. It's an electrical motor, or it has a gas motor, and then it has an electrical motor to make the windows go up and down.
Let me tell you, it's amazing fuel mileage in reverse.
Yeah.
Okay. Paddle shifter is the proper term, apparently, according to Draconite, and was not coined by Top Gear. Interesting. Well, let's talk software, shall we?
Yeah. And so, that's gone through a couple different iterations over the course of the show.
So we started off in a game called Project Cars. And why did we start with Project Cars? Well, let's launch Project Cars not in Steam mode. The reason is simple. Oh wow, the wallpaper changes automatically now. The reason is simple. When I came up with the idea for the 24 hours of LRRMans, it was because I wanted to do some form of a 24-hour stream.
So many logos.
A lot of people involved. Thankfully, thankfully there aren't any weapons manufacturers in this one. It's really weird to launch a game like Ace Combat and see Boeing, Raytheon, McDonnell Douglas.
I guess, yeah.
But
we have this. Do we need the sound for the game?
No, this is just the intro. In fact, we can escape through this and I think I might have played through this on. We're gonna go with that. Probably in my personal account. That's right. Anyway, the reason being is that this was the only game at the time that was fresh and modernish that would allow you to do 24-hour races.
Oh.
And because the Le Mans is one of the only 24-hour races I knew about at the time, that's what we chose. Also, it had the track, which was the... Where did it go? Unless it's in DLC. Wait, Circuit Day. There it is. Circuit Day 24 Hours Demands. Not technically the same car or the same track. And it is the same track, but it's obfuscated.
So the so this was at the time anyway. This was the only game that actually only did 24 hours.
Mm-hmm.
Does it also do is it actually simulating the Le Mans race in terms of the rules of the race and the
Yes.
and all the day night and all that kind of stuff?
Yeah, it would do the day. I believe it does the day night as well. But it also importantly has the Le Mans prototype class cars to it, so you can do that. Let's just get on the track and see what this can do, just for fun.
Now, in the first year, were you actually loading it up with real cars that would be at Le Mans, and you were driving a real car that would be at Le Mans?
This is the big difference, Paul. Is that, we only had access to Le Mans style cars, or at least historic Le Mans cars. Hey, guess who didn't set up all his controls properly? Yes. It is one of the issues with the with having everything plugged in by itself.
It has to be all configured.
Exactly. Controls, automatic clutch, no. Gearing manual, inverted gearing, no. Edit assignments, all right. Steering is good. Brake, great. 5, throttle, that one. Handbrake is this button.
Now, Project Cars is also quite hackable. Or it has a whole plugin architecture and stuff, doesn't it?
No, it does not.
Oh.
And that's the problem with Project Cars. We'll get to that once we have a look at how this one looks.
And I recall Project Cars as, again, you were talking about the Gran Turismo and Forza as being the, the sort of more simulation style one. If I recall, Project Cars was at least intended to be even, pushing it even farther in that direction.
Yes, they were definitely
as trying to be as simulation-y as possible. Given the technology at the time, of course.
Yeah, and it does a very good job at that too. I'm just trying to pick something I've got some familiarity with. The answer is not much, actually. What did I take that first year? That's right, we took the Sauber, I think later on.
So is that not actually the? Is this not actually the Le Mans track? It's like a genericified version?
They're just giving it a different name, I think, to keep out of the copyright books. Oh my, this is a very different looking game. The nice thing about this this series, is the pit control guy.
That's an interesting point. Can you copyright a track?
I don't.
Like if somebody in, the salt flats of America wanted to make an identical track to the Le Mans track, can you just do that?
I
can't imagine how you would. I can't see how you would be able to copyright how the road curves.
I'm trying to think of other physical places that could be considered another example of that, and I honestly can't.
Wow.
So this game is a little bit more serious about
and you've got
penalties.
You've got your whatever race director in your ear.
The difference in these games versus another difference between the later games is in this game you had to call your pits or be called into them.
In this one you don't?
Oh, in this one you do.
Oh, in this one you do. Is this pre Gant Gant?
This is why one of the reasons why I wanted to do a little bit of a lap here is that yes, this is where.
Well, I guess the actual the branding of the real Le Mans wouldn't be in this.
No, and certainly I'm noticing a tremendous lack of branding anywhere on the track, actually.
That's true. I also like that even in this, idealized fantasy of a track, there's still like construction going on. Just outside. There's like a...
Oh, those cherry pickers, Paul, are actually for cameras.
Oh, really?
Yeah. They're so that because that's a pretty fast straightaway that's coming in there, and you want to catch them going into the corner.
Right. Speaking of cameras, I recall, maybe not in your first year, but in previous years, you have had all sorts of interesting, and I guess maybe we'll talk about that when we get into Project Cars 2. But different views of the race.
Yeah, and it's something that I've always struggled with because I like the idea. Oh wow, nothing there. Okay, so I have two theories here. Either because that's where Gant should have been, I believe.
Was there a turn that wasn't supposed to be there?
Oh no, it was. But the sign.
Oh,
the physical sign is there, but the print on the sign is gone. And I'm wondering if this game got scrubbed of any brands in one of its final updates before it got put into archive mode.
Oh, that they just like all the all the marketing stuff. That'd be. I guess that's not a terrible idea, or it's not.
I would
shouldn't
prefer
say
not.
That's not a terrible solution. I
Yes.
guess. As opposed to just like taking that,
The game completely offline.
or it's like we can't do that track anymore because the brands aren't doing it. It is kind of weird to see a bunch of banners that are empty now. I think they could just like, I don't know, have some stock assets to fill it up with.
That can get. I mean, if you've got stock assets that don't exist, that's good.
Yeah.
But when you're expecting to see the Michelin Man, specifically on that blue sign there that's coming up.
This is the final lap of the race. See if you can take that
Anyway,
guy in front of you.
so that's Project Cars 1. Yeah.
That's just the final lap of the race. Wow, 24 hours goes fast.
There's nothing much more to say about this one except that it was a fine racer, and it's how we cut our teeth on this.
How many years did you use Project Cars 1?
I think we only used Project Cars 1 the 1 year because Project Cars 2 came out very quickly afterwards. Drew isn't saying 4 minutes and 12 seconds. That's one of Ian's fastest laps. That's not wrong, actually. I have gotten a lot better at driving over the years. So we used Project Cars 2 for, I think, a total of 3 years.
Oh, really? I thought you used it for longer than that.
I'd have to check, but my memory says that is the case because for a very important reason, and we'll get to that when we're done talking about Project Cars 2. Project Cars 2 was and remains really good as a racer. I tend to enjoy it, in fact, more than Project Cars 3, which I played, I think, just a couple of times, actually.
I was about to ask, is the Project Cars franchise sort of defunct at this point?
I think they are. If they are not, I haven't heard anything from them.
Slightly Mad Studios turns out they were too mad.
Mm-hmm. They had a good Mad engine though. Oh, there we go. That's what I remember the sound. Hey, guess where I was racing previously. All right, the Nürburgring. You can see already an upgrade in many areas. Also, in terms of graphical fidelity.
Right. So I guess that's like the two parts that in some ways go hand in hand. But the new version, obviously, there's all sorts of graphical things like you would expect. Things looking more realistic, better textures and all that stuff. But what I would assume is that the simulation part is what really gets improved. Like you start getting more a more sort of new, where it's like actually rather than sort of hand waving stuff.
Yeah,
it starts actually like simulating how the shocks and how the brakes are actually interacting as opposed to just sort of approximating it.
Specifically for Project Cars 2, it was the tires that was the big
right.
one, and the way that they would react not just to wear level but also to temperature. We started to learn that temperature was very important for our
And it's
our play.
right, rather than just having like a a value for how much tire is worn.
Yeah,
It's like
exactly.
it's like a really detailed simulation of how the tire is actually moving on a road.
How much tire left? No, it turns out a lot of tire. Okay, hey. No, I think it's got that good. Let's make sure that's the right one. Brake, throttle. We don't need a handbrake. We do need clutch.
No handbrake. How you gonna do sweet turns?
Slowly and smoothly, Paul, as is the correct way to do so. And sixth gear, and we might.
That was
seventh gear.
yeah. The few times that I've hung out and played during your streams, that's always been my. You have to like slow down when you're going around a corner. That's not how racing works.
Who allowed that? Oh,
Ah. I think your change view button may be mapped somewhere where it's not supposed to be.
so here
Oh,
we go.
there we go.
We've got our good friend Bebendum back,
Right, so now the branding is all back. Interesting.
and that's why we call that the Dunlop Chop. This is the that area of elevation I was talking about.
Incoming raid.
Oh, that's what that sound was. Good. Thank you, Foxmar. Welcome. I had honestly, Paul, thought that was a sound that was coming from the car that I had never heard before.
It's, you've got your little Game Boy in the other seat.
Yeah. Let's make good synthesizers. Okay, yeah. So a lot more branding here. Looks brighter. The trees look better. The background looks nicer.
Must always be like a tricky thing, especially when you're designing a game that is the sort of intensely realistic part. It's like, how much of our graphics processing budget do we spend on the trees that are outside the track that are not they are not adding to our like core thing, but they do make it look nicer.
Well, especially when you've got a track like this that is so well known. I mean, not just by me. Other people.
These are the real trees? Like, they've mapped out exactly where each real tree is?
I can't guarantee that every tree is mapped, but I'm pretty sure that there are a number of them that have been strategically placed, because sometimes that helps the driver know when to actually brake.
Like, these aren't when a game like Project Cars puts a track, it's not okay, this is the shape of the track.
Yeah, it's not
We
just
put
that.
it in.
It's
They're literally like they're going through and they're taking pictures and scanning it and
yep.
simulating it as closely as possible.
Because you want the you want your stands to look correctly as well. There's a big Ferris wheel in Le Mans as well.
That's like a landmark.
Yeah, and it wouldn't be the same without it, quite frankly. Especially during those night portions of the driving where you need to.
During the actual race, the people like spectate from on top of the Ferris wheel.
Sure, yeah. Oh, here we go, and there's our friend.
Yay!
That's where it all started.
Did you say that like the Gant clothing company or whatever they are doesn't actually sponsor Le Mans anymore?
They do not. I'm not sure if it was just this year, but this year they certainly did not. So, I think it was I think that turn was Porsche.
Gant will always Gant in our hearts.
Always.
I mean, if they're looking for another racing thing to sponsor, they're very popular here.
I happen to own a couple of their shirts.
Oh, really? Yeah. I was like, I don't know if they're actually, if they're good, but
And Texan tracked them down, sent them in, and yeah, they make some good shirts.
I'm assuming the name of the company is Gant, right?
It's singular Gant, yes.
Yeah.
A scant Gant, as we say. Okay, what's my time going to be this time? Ooh. Money shift. And no information. Okay, great.
Does that mean you cut a corner or something?
Probably not. Okay. Oh no, it just didn't. I guess it just doesn't show up on the same way. Wow, 405. Even better.
Now, has some of the the better simulation aspects that Project Cars 2 added, does that make it easier or harder to actually race? Like, do you do better in Project Cars 1 because it's not tracking certain things, or does it Project Cars 2 tracking things actually make it easier?
It's hard to say. Just now, I mean, I did just get a faster lap time, but there's a lot of other factors in there. There's no one on the road. There was
Yeah, it helps when you don't have like 10 buses trying to smack you around.
But I think it actually, if I would say it does make for a better experience, even if it might be harder to race.
Okay.
Because the more fidelity you get, the better you get at learning how these machines work in the environment that they are. These are simulated cars, but the better the environment is simulating them, the finer the resolution of literally when the rubber meets the road.
Right, as Chap points out, being in an actual race car probably is helping your time a lot.
Yeah, that also.
I don't think you've actually done the Le Mans in a race car for quite a few years.
Not in a number of years, no. But the one thing that Project Cars 2 does do that, well, after a couple of years in Project Cars 2, we had to say, well, we didn't have to say goodbye to it. We did voluntarily say goodbye to it for Assetto Corsa. And that game, the reason I chose that game is because I had only just become aware of it and how moddable it was. I kept looking for mods for Project Cars and Project Cars 2 to maybe add some things to it. And all they had were, at the most, was liveries for the cars, different paints.
Now, wasn't Project Cars 2 where you had the like thing that was tracking your path around the track and stuff?
Yes, we did have.
You had some. I remember you had some cool stuff like that.
Yeah, in the early years, the community really jumped on and started working with getting telemetry for the races. So you could track them
you
on
had
the
like a
map.
custom telemetry thing.
Yeah, and we kind of moved away from that because I think Assetto Corsa was more difficult to get that information out of in a meaningful way. And honestly, the performance. I should say there are two different ways of using the word performance, and we kind of traded the idea of performance in the speed sense for performance in the more fun to watch sense.
Right. I mean, we always talk about that, like, playing like in like Desert Bus. I think our most successful year of actually like number of points got in Desert Bus was like year 3 or something.
Exactly. Yeah.
It's the correlation of how well we do in the game of Desert Bus versus how well the Desert Bus event is successful is not a very strong
Money raised to Desert Bus points is not connected in any way.
And in the same way, entertainment value for the audience versus your actual like placement in the Le Mans race
Right.
doesn't have a strong correlation necessarily.
And one of the things I loved about previous games in the Forza series before I started doing Le Mans was driving around road cars, not rather than race cars.
Right.
I just love the idea of being able to pick a car that I could potentially find myself in one day and see how that does.
In fact, you were driving around in your actual Mini a few times.
There
too,
were a
right?
couple times there. I think the first time I even tried the Mazda 3 because I think I had the Mazda for a few years before I got the Mini in Project Car or in Le Mans time as well. But yeah, that's Assetto Corsa changed the game in terms of its ability to mod things. Good God, this is a terrible site when you don't have ad block on. But this is overtake.gg, formerly Race Department, and it's the place where I go to get my
You want to download something? Download!
continue to download. Claim your download code.
I don't know what it is, but you're gonna download it.
God, where do they keep it nowadays?
I don't think you should download.
Not from that link, that's for sure.
That
There we go.
That feel when you're on like you're trying to get a program or trying to download something and there's like 10 download buttons on screen of varying sizes and shapes and colors, and the one you want is like the little one in the middle.
But if anyone wants to know why I like Assetto Corsa,
You are
so
literally
much,
downloading a car.
it's this number right here.
That is so many cars.
That's just the number of mods in general. That counts
I see.
skins, but that's still a lot of cars, and that's a lot of tracks too.
What are apps?
So apps are little applications that are, I think they're even written in Python that show up either on screen or allow you to change
These are
settings
like
and whatnot.
Plugins for the.
Yeah. So, for example, Lumi Delta bar is that's that little bar that sits in your screen, gets green when you're going faster than your previous or your best lap, and gets red when you're going slower than your best lap.
That's so cool.
There's full-on telemetry that you can send out to full apps, get your coaching, slip monitor. So a lot of these I haven't used yet. They're not new to me, or these are new to me rather. Ooh, automatic cinematic replay for crashes. That could be fun. But it's all about
Interior and exterior lighting effects.
It's all about cars for me because I wanted to be able to get that Mini in there that I wanted to drive. I wanted to be able to get some Porsches that were in there because I think Assetto Corsa didn't do the Porsches, if I remember correctly. We'll find out soon. But every year I'd go through here and I'd start looking at interesting cars. And then I started noticing the more ridiculous cars that were available for it. And figured, why not start adding some of those things into the race as well? And that's where we started getting things like the banana and the buses were an early addition. And then we got into the act of actually making our own mods. The Mini that I've driven around. And in fact, let's open up Assetto Corsa here and have a look.
Now, when you make a car, is it like you take an existing car and reskin it in terms of like, or do people usually like, or are people trying to also make the performance of the car that they're making?
There are all sorts. There are some that are just a different skin put on it, but there are others that have gone to great details to replicate the feel and the handling of these vehicles. But this is Assetto Corsa as one launches it by itself. I don't even know what this looks like because I almost never launch the game this way.
Oh. How do you normally launch? Is there like a special plugin launcher thing?
There is indeed. I just wanted to feature what this thing looks like in regular form.
It is definitely like a little more minimal in terms of its interface and stuff. I mean, it's pretty stylish, but like it does have a bit of that, maybe sort of Linux feel. That like this is for the serious market, not so much. It's we're not necessarily.
This interface is meant to be get out of your way as soon as possible and get you into the real thing. Wow. But the reason I don't use that is because I don't think anybody uses that interface to deal with the Assetto Corsa. Everyone these days uses a little piece of software called Content Manager, which you can get from acstuff.clubs/app.
This is unofficial.
This is very unofficial, but it's been in development as long as and continues to be in development as long as I've been using it. And I've paid for my license because it is night and day from what the normal interface is.
Oh wow! And this is the thing that actually it sets up all your plugins and stuff.
Yeah. And we're going to talk about plugins here for a second too, because boy oh boy do I use plugins. A couple of them are very important. Number one, if you're going to use the Assetto Corsa, and you should, because it's very cheap to buy right now. And still is a great game. Custom Shader Patch. Custom Shader Patch is what it says. It adds custom shaders and is developed and adds a lot of effects to the game that aren't necessarily there. The most important one for me right now is Neck FX, which will point your in-camera view towards the apex of the turn as you're turning into them. So it's kind of another form of feedback that's not force, but it is letting you know you need to turn, and you are feeling that the car is moving this way into the turn.
I thought that was going to be like a special like high fidelity texture pack for the back of your neck. That you're like, that's the part like for when you're in that view.
But there's a lot of other stuff there too. Like there's new AI behaviors for the in-game computer-based drivers. There's effects for your brakes. When you brake too hard and they start to heat up and get red, that shows up.
Ooh.
Force feedback tweaks for that. This is actually an important thing as well, because force feedback within Assetto Corsa by itself is pretty normal. What Content Manager exposes is if you go into the Assetto Corsa settings and check down your controls and your force feedback, where does it go?
Post-processing?
It's not the post-processing. There's an... Okay, you know what? I can't find it right now. But there is also a calibration and system for the wheel. So what it'll do, especially if you've got an aftermarket wheel on there, is it'll go through spinning your wheel back and forth about 20 times and put together a force profile based on how hard it needs to go.
Oh, neat.
Based on the size and weight of your wheel. And it's somewhere in here. You put together a profile, and then you can actually apply the profile to it.
Is it the test down the corner there?
No, that just launches the game.
Oh, I see. It's and so this is one of those games that like you're sort of nobody actually plays it vanilla.
I don't think so, no.
Or at least interesting.
The other one that's very important here is your post-processing filter, because that's the way that's the way that you change the look of the game.
Oh, okay.
And work is still being done on post-processing filters to make them more correct in how they render the way that the light will bounce off glass, or how you'll get lens flares in certain places.
Is there a is there like an Assetto Corsa 2 like that they're working on, or is it the idea that because of course the problem with games like this where there's so much mod stuff, right, is that they can never update it because like if they update it and like, look, here's our Assetto Corsa 2, it's better, and it's like, yeah, but we were all using mods and the mods don't work on the new thing, so for the next like 3 years it's actually going to be worse.
There we go. I wanted to bring that up because I couldn't remember
Rally
the
and
name.
Evo.
So Rally is also new, and I understand it's fairly good. Competition was their sequel to the original Assetto Corsa, and nobody really, well,
Wow, it is pretty cheap.
It didn't get picked up quite as well by the community because it had zero modding available for it. Lots of good features, like being able to race against robot cars in 24-hour races, but no mods. And so when Assetto Corsa announced that they were making their new game Evo, and they were going to be, then they very specifically mentioned that they wanted to continue the modding tradition of Assetto Corsa, people were skeptical. And people are still skeptical because the game is trickling out in different ways. But it's it's also a lot harder to launch a new game and a new modding community when something as big as the modding community for the original Assetto Corsa still exists.
Yeah, I mean it's always a tricky, unless your new game is so much better that it can have the functionality of all the mods built in, then it's a pretty tricky. Yeah,
it's a hard sell, is what it is. But the game is still in development, and it will still, it will probably eventually get the mods that we want. One other thing I like about Content Manager is it also monitors the mods that you have, and if something is out on the internet,
nice.
It'll update them for you. And when you're adding a lot of mods, that makes things very, very handy because we have. So here's how many. Does it display how many? It does not display how many cars that there are currently in the all. But you can see there's a lot right now.
Cars.
And you compare that to if we tag that with
Some very silly ones. Too,
oh yeah. But there's categories. There we go. If we can compare that to Kunos, we were the developers, 178 cars, and the rest of them here, including classics, drift, etc., are
233 street cars,
Yeah.
100 sports cars, 208 race cars.
oh, there we go, 313 mods. Oof, cars not made by Kunos. So tells you a little bit about how much there is option there. But that we got into, and we did a couple races with where we started adding the fun to it. First one was just modded cars. Second one I built. Where is the mini? There it is. No, that's not my mini. Let's just do a quick search here. And I think there it is. And let's put this in another feature that
Oh, you've got the license plate and stuff. Yeah.
I did as much as I could. There's a button to there it is. Wait, that's the one. We can go to the garage.
Oh, and you can mess with it.
Yeah, or at least turn it around.
Oh, yeah, you added the various bumper stickers.
Every bumper sticker I could find. These two were the hardest, which was the Microlon and I want to say, yes, Valtane, because I wasn't entirely sure what those products actually do, and got to learn a little bit about my car when I did. Yeah, even got the KYB and the Heathrow in there.
Nice.
Yeah, so
when you drive this car in Assetto Corsa, is it actually does it feel pretty similar to your car?
They've got the good version of the car in this game, and I've got the mid-range version myself. So,
oh, okay.
Yeah. I was wondering where there are backgrounds in here too, but yeah, you can super resolution it up and get right up to things to make yourself a really nice car.
Neat.
And this is, interior. This one didn't get as much design as certain other cars do. But we're not here to look in the garage. But like I said, we got that done. We then moved on to the Orion Drifts. We got special skins made for every one of the various desert bus shifts, including Omega, and those have been a loyal companion since then.
Although a loyal but if somewhat short-lived companion, if I recall, they tend to smash themselves fairly quickly.
It depends on the year, Paul. It's really weird depending on what's on the road. We've had years where the buses have continued right to the end, and then this year we had them taking themselves out rather quickly every time.
I remember them. I recall them being also extremely aggressive.
Yes,
They tended to try to run you down.
I'm not sure if this is a buffer underflow setting it to 0, but they're supposed to be non-aggressive. That I don't think actually means anything.
It's one of those civilization Gandhi problems.
We did go through the entire Gandhi discussion about.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah.
So we had a couple of years in Assetto Corsa with the mods, and that was fun. And then I decided I wanted to try something new for 1 year because it wasn't something that I'd ever seen done before. And I think that while I like driving from a first-person perspective, I worry sometimes that it's a little bit boring. Turns out chat doesn't think so because the solution I came up with did not go over like gangbusters, but I decided I'm going to use Project Cars 2 to do a multi-camera broadcast of the year.
So you've been in a sort of course, and then you went back to Project Cars 2.
Again, because that was yes, that was the reason for that, was to go back because Assetto Corsa, bless it for everything else, does not have a view mode, a view only.
Oh, okay. Even with all the mods, it's
Spectator
not
mode. Yeah,
it's not. They weren't able to mod a spectator mode.
It unfortunately gets too deep into the into the system, and you can't mix live players with AI players in Assetto Corsa, which is also the reason why we haven't been adding community racers to these or other racers into the game.
Oh, I see. When you say live, so it's like you can have you and AI players.
Yep.
Or you and live players, but
exactly.
No. Oh, I see. Okay.
Yeah, so we had to go back to Project Cars 2 if I wanted the spectator mode. Thankfully, Project Cars 2 had been out for a few years, and so the price had come down quite a bit. Unfortunately, it also had been removed for sale from the Steam store. And in order to do this multi-camera race...
Is it just because it was old? It hadn't... They
I
weren't
think,
selling it anymore?
I think it was just they're removing it from sale. Probably, again, because of licensing deals expiring.
Right.
But, key sites do exist. And I went out and purchased a few previously bought by someone else keys for Project Cars 2 because I needed 3 copies of the game.
You need a separate, and of course, because I guess how Steam works, you actually had 3 different Steam accounts or whatever.
3 different Steam accounts and 3 different computers. Because we needed one for me to drive, one to actually be the spectator mode computer. And this is where I feel like there was a huge cash grab. If you were doing a spectator mode, you also need to buy a 3rd copy to be what's called the race director that gets to change the cameras. It doesn't actually get to see what's going on in the game, but it changes what the spectator mode sees.
You need an entirely separate instance of Project Cars to do
Yes.
that.
So
Wow.
this is where the quote and meme, Loading Ready to Run has invited you to play Project Cars 2 came from. Because, of course, in a 24-hour race, you're going to get some crashes, and it needs to restart the thing. And that means you need to invite each of those different...
Crashes in both senses of the term.
Yes, indeed. But I think that was, in my mind, I really liked that as one of the best looking LRRMans, because it looked like you were watching, from a viewer's perspective, it looked like you were watching a race that was happening on TV that was always focused on my car.
So when you were driving, so did you do that where like you were driving in just normal first person mode, but what was actually being broadcast was like a cinematic camera that would like cut between views?
Yeah, so you see the camera coming down the road, and the camera would pan past as it goes really fast, and once it's certain amount off in the distance, you'd switch to the next car down and whatnot. And then of course you mix in the first person view every now and then just to give them that.
And you could use the buttons to
exactly, yeah. And that was the director was running on my little X230 laptop, which was pushing it to the limits, but it ran. It didn't have to show anything graphically,
I guess. But yeah, I mean, it is an interesting aspect of and not just the Le Mans or whatever, but also sort of I guess streaming in general is the idea of seeing sort of the most seeing the sort of the most cinematic or the best view of the thing is not always better, like in terms of the audience experience. Seeing what you are actually seeing is sometimes better. Depending on the circumstances.
It's a higher level of connection, I think, between the viewer and the presenter, which only matters in something like streaming.
Right.
I think what was flipping people up was that a lot of people couldn't understand what was happening on screen because they're not used to watching a race from an outside perspective.
Right, and like you because of how the cameras move and stuff, you like shoot off to the right and then are coming in from a different side and going off, and so it's hard to sort of see where you are in relation to other things.
There's a cinematic language to race broadcasting, just like there is to any other sport. It's why they don't. I guess they don't always have a top-down view for hockey games, or always show you from behind the goalposts in football, because that's not the best way to show off what's going on. But if you don't know that, you think, well, maybe I'd like to see these football men running towards me when it's their turn for the ball.
If I was now, I don't know if they do all sorts of fancy things, but like it would actually be kind of an interesting experiment to have like one of the players wearing like a helmet cam and like do an entire like secondary broadcast that's always that one guy's view, like the quarterback's view or something.
For a sport like that'll be fascinating. I think they do that for F1 if you've got some of the expensive
they always have helmet cams on F1 on things. Yeah,
and I understand with the app on the Apple TV, you can actually set up a multi-view where you've got the track with everyone on it. It's just a map. You've got your favorite guy's helmet cam, and then you've got a few other ones up. But yeah, having that view from my perspective and being able to one-to-one translate my movements to what's going on screen, I guess really makes a difference for some people.
And also, I guess it's like, if something happens, like if you go like, "Wow, my windshield just broke" or something, seeing what you're seeing is a much more sort of visceral effect.
Exactly. On the other hand, if you're a car getting into a massive crash and taking some air, boy, I would sure love to have some footage of that for later on.
It's true. It's always that problem of the, it's like, oh man, I wish I could, cut back 5 seconds and show. Yeah.
I mean, you can record the races and play them back, but because of, again, the crashes, you'd have to save them properly. And then there's a matter of, if you want it for the highlight, you got to go back and find it and clip it to yourself. And in that sense, it's not what was seen on screen at the time, so it's not really fair as a highlight, I think.
Interesting. Yeah.
But we got out of Project Cars again, because while I did like that idea of it looking like a real race, I really missed the wacky races aspect of it with the all of the ridiculous cars that we've got in there. and I figured we'd spend the last little bit of time here, trying out some of these cars that are in essence probably undrivable for 24 hours, but people have wanted to see what they're like.
Right, because we've seen them on the track driven by the AI, but
Yes.
not actually you driving it.
Exactly. So let's take this down to just a practice day, and let's scroll through some of these various categories.
Wait,
Sorry?
was that just that was a jackfruit?
Yeah. Yep.
Where do you sit? How do you go? Is that just it's just like floating above the?
I don't think you do. I think you're just there. We've discovered this.
Was that on the track, like driving around and smashing into things during your run?
We have had jackfruits in the past, but we actually took them out this year
like
because it wasn't
a guy like sitting on it driving around. Is that it's like a motorcycle?
That's the banana, unfortunately. So this is one we didn't add because it didn't really. While it
with the double
looks
decker.
good, you need the you need the drift edition to get fast enough to be able to compete.
Does that run into the Gant sign? Is it too tall?
You know what, Paul? We're going to find out. We're going to find out if this can even make it around the track the first time.
Do the signs like that have like collision on them?
I'm not sure. This is the thing. I'm not sure. I've never actually. I've never tried. I've never been in a car big enough.
Wait a minute. Oh, there we go. I was like, that doesn't look like a bus.
All right, so let's have a look and.
This is a right-hand drive bus.
Oh no, that's not free look. It's the button for free look.
I kind of wish you could drive it from the overhead.
Oh,
drive it from the top floor.
Dang, yeah, that would be fun. But let's.
Can it not zoom out
That's
far enough?
as far back as we get.
Welp.
All right, so I guess we're no errors. Ooh. That is a realistic level of torque.
It takes a while to get going, but once you get going, nobody's going to push you off course. That's good anyway.
Once you get going enough, though, unfortunately, the course is set, and you have very little control over what happens next.
Right.
We're only at 60 kilometers an hour, which
But
is.
if you ran into like one of those little cars that you had going around, probably just thump thump.
Okay, you know what? If maybe I will become a bus driver if I.
But like, yeah, can we go to the outside to actually see if you're making it past this? All right, I guess you're. I'm very curious as to whether you're actually like clipping through or whether you're making it.
You know, Paul, I think this is actually the upper deck, so we can just go back and find out. Oh, nope. Nope. Okay.
I feel like reverse gear is not very solid on this guy.
No, well, I think it's.
Have you stalled out in the pit?
Let's go back to the pits. Okay. So
I mean, like even like this.
Yep, we're just clipping right through everything. Hello, Rolex.
Oh yeah. Well, maybe.
Yeah. So I think that's the double decker is.
I can see why that would not be very effective on the racetrack.
Yeah, and it just gets in the way of people and eventually crashes itself out, and it doesn't work right. But this was Blue Bus. Okay, I don't know who does this one. Bolore Group, lithium metal polymer. Ooh, this is an electric bus.
Ooh.
We don't. That one hasn't been used yet.
Oh, it's got that graph shows its acceleration.
Oh,
curves
yeah,
and
the
stuff.
torque and power over time. So yeah, like much like an electric vehicle, it's got all the torque forever until you get up to a certain point. Cheeto never really worked properly.
Oh man.
There are so many buses that I have not used just because they don't have the full.
So do people like model these in Blender or something and then
Yeah,
import them?
whatever system they use. But
The Kirby car.
you do need to end up. Yes, yeah. This is one that we've used a number of times, and I've never actually been inside it myself. So let's find out.
The Kirby in the Forgotten Lands is a great game. And
Okay.
I actually got the sort of climactic finale of Kirby in the Forgotten Lands. I actually got a little emotional because he does like mouthful mode on a bus, and it's like, no, Kirby, don't do it.
Not today.
It's too big. You can't take it.
So, wow. This is not a great car for driving. Oh boy. If I'm feeling it correctly, actually, it does also, much like the desert bus, list to the left. Oh yeah, this is undrivable by a human being. Cut detected lap will not count. Come on, we can at least get through the Dunlop shop here.
So like, I'm curious as to whether they started with just like a car and just gave it like all the, like, it's just they copied, some sort of little car and then just modeled a Kirby on top of it. Or whether this is actually a whole thing, a whole like custom.
I mean, there are things that I've seen that absolutely look like they are assets that have been ripped from another game and placed in, which is not a bad thing. That's actually great.
Yeah.
If you can do that, but you do need to work on the handling as well. Otherwise, it's just not fun.
Yeah, like it's interesting to try to emulate. It's like, do you want to emulate how it handles in the game that it's from, or like how a car like that would actually handle?
Now, I love these Chorokyu little.
Right. Those are the little guys that you got this year.
Yeah, but unfortunately, they don't have any interior either. So they only they're only good for looking at from the outside. But
so if you go to try to drive one, can you not actually see out the windshield?
Well, here's you can. Unfortunately, you don't get any. What you don't get is any interior. It just looks like a gray void. But they do drive like little cars that are close to what they're supposed to be, and they do each have individual handling characteristics. Why can't I get into first? Let's check that out.
I remember talking about this quite a few years ago at a previous LRRMans, but it's something that has sort of fascinated me. I remember playing Batman Arkham City many years ago, and one of the fun things about that is you have like the Batmobile. Did you just restart the computer?
I think I did.
What?
I was plugging and unplugging the USB stick, and
Oh, whoops.
I think I rested my thumb too hard on the power switch there while I was doing that.
But anyway, so Batman Arkham City, one of the big things about it is you've got the Batmobile.
Right.
And the Batmobile is a ridiculous car in the game. It is basically like the way it handles it's like a tank. Like the way, or I should say, the way it interacts with the environment is like it weighs like the weight of a tank. Like it smashes through things with barely any slowing down. But it also corners and moves like a go-kart, right? Like it moves. You can set it into a mode where you can actually like move in full sort of VTOL moving.
Right.
But it also like it moves incredibly quickly and zips around and stuff. And it's got like the power to weight ratio, of like a, I don't know, whatever, like a Bugatti Veyron or something. Like it goes ridiculously fast.
It's impossible.
Yeah. And so like I was wondering about a game like in a game like Project Cars that is like a simulation thing. Like, could you make a car? It's like, one, could you make a car that moves like that? And what it's sort of like what aspects would you have to change? Like what variables would you have to change to me? Like, I'm assuming a car like that, it's like how many sort of space age impossible materials would you need? Like you would need an engine that has way more power than any real world engine could ever have. You would need to have brakes that are way more powerful than brakes that you could ever have. You'd have to be able to like do, have like, changes in G-force that are way more powerful than a real person could ever endure. But it's like, if you have, the functions of a video game, obviously like a simulation game like this, could you make a car in this that does that? Or would you have to actually like change fundamental constants of the universe?
I'm thinking
Like change how much gravity affects the car in order to make it a car actually drive like that in real life.
I guess all you'd really have to have is perfect adhesion tires.
Right, that's of course the other thing. Yeah, you'd have to, well, or like I was thinking like rocket engines firing in all directions or something, so that like its traction doesn't actually affect it as much or something. Like
You effectively have to simulate a train
yeah.
that can turn and you can put down tracks anywhere it wants.
But anyway, I just thought, because obviously in the game, it's obviously just so much fun to drive around in this thing and smash through stuff and do all things.
Okay, so these are barely controllable. Actually, they're really well controllable. I was just going way too fast for that turn. But yeah, so these were the new additions for this year. The Choro Q cars, which are basically, again, just cars that have been pulled from, well, not pulled, because they're modeled in 3D, whereas the
actual game is like a 2D top-down.
Yeah, well, behind sort of thing.
Okay.
Yeah, the third one is, at least. And yeah, they were just little fun things that I'm now...
Oh, I like the hot air balloon out there. It's cool.
Very cool thing. So again, another one of those things that you're going to want is to play with your post-processing filters. And one of the things that I like about the one I use, Pure, is that it does good things with the light, to the sense where when those things gas during the night, you can see them light up as if someone were doing a burst of gas to keep them in air. I don't think in real life you would actually be flying a hot air balloon at night, but it's nice that they have that that ability. So that was Choro Q. I think we want to get to the buses specifically, though.
That made me think, have people made like Mario Kart cars?
I have not seen them, but there's an...
It made me just especially the sound of the engine in that little guy made me think of the little like 20 or 200 cc's.
I would be willing to bet that
seems like a no-brainer to somebody put.
I would be willing to bet that many people have had the idea, and it has probably happened at least once, and then Nintendo brought the hammer down so fast and so hard that no one has tried again.
Or even just like go-kart. I guess some of these are kind of go-karty kind of cars.
I would love to do a race with a real car on Rainbow Road.
Right, that would be the other thing is pulling Mario Kart levels into
tracks. Oh, here we go. You know what? This has always been one of our
of course
It's made it all the way through the year. So let's do a half lap on this and see how it feels from the inside.
Is there some way to simulate getting jump-ons?
Oh my. I wish. Okay, not too much in the way of interior modding here. You always have to check if there's a cat, because there was a cat once.
Oh, really?
Yep.
They just had like a cat that always is sitting beside you?
Yep, in the passenger seat. This one we know is able to phase through the things as well.
Oh, is it? Can we see the outside of it?
Yeah. So it's got good get up and go, but it is also a...
Does it, so like, is it being affected by, like wind resistance the way something this size would?
I think so, and the physics absolutely checks out.
Yeah, it seems like it's a little top heavy.
Great. Good show, stair truck. Not even once. Okay. Other interesting things here. More buses. Why do I in Istanbul? When did I get Istanbul transit?
Is it where you just like you were just trying to find like the best bus? Ooh, tanks.
I will add just about anything to the
Oh, is that a Donkey Kong cart?
which one here?
The DK kitchen. Is that?
You know what?
What is that?
It never got into LRRMans because it wasn't able to finish a lap. So let's find out what it actually is. There are so many that I download that never make it to the.
But
Is that the thing? Okay, this is a. Oops. Oh, wheel not straight. It's not making any noise.
very quiet. Can we see the front of it? Does it have like a Diddy Kong face on the front or something?
Hold on, I'm trying to figure out what the button is to reverse, and I don't. Whoa. No, I can't do that. Yeah, kitchen carts. Oh, so it's got tuna cans for tires.
Oh, that's it.
But this is definitely modeled after something unreal, because this drives way too well.
Also, its tires are like halfway in the ground.
Yeah. And then, of course, the spin out. Yeah,
All right, that does not work.
the physics can sometimes get a bit difficult, and that's definitely something that happens to our race buses. All right, we've got. I can't believe that the motorcycles actually work.
Because motorcycles are not something that's actually modeled in the real game.
No.
So this is like a motorcycle, but using car physics.
There's one other one that I haven't put in here because I just didn't want to try to make it. I didn't want to promise anything that I couldn't pull off. But someone has modeled a C-130 Hercules.
Oh wait, that's just your?
Yeah, it's just
It's just your
driving
rig. You
rig.
can just be like driving around in the rig.
yeah,
Nice.
yeah. Neoplan bus.
As in like the plane.
Yes, and it works. As in,
flies?
You can fly it. Here we go. There's our bus boys.
So is this like of all the? Did you like test out a bunch of buses, and these were the ones that succeeded the best?
So these are the only ones that come with the drift capability. You can have the regular bus. You can see the power curve there. And then there's the drift edition, which changes things significantly. But what I like best about these are that they are TTC buses from the Toronto Transit Corporation. And we'll see how this... I've never actually attempted to drive one of these myself, but I know they can get around.
Wait, is that the driving position is back in the... Oh, okay.
Here's drive. Okay, so there's driver position. And then that's first chase, second chase, third camera?
The pit sign is just through the wall.
Oh yeah, that'll happen. Let's have ourselves a little look around here. Looks like a bus.
Does your rear view mirror work?
Oh yeah, no, the
mirrors work?
The mirrors are.
We got your fan up in the corner there. It's nice.
Happy to see the fan actually works too. Whoa. Okay, so we're already up to 123 kilometers. Just twice what the last bus we tried was.
I can see why these buses were lapping you in the thing. What's the fan is like going back and forth? What's it doing?
I wonder if it's connected to the engine speed. Yep. I guess that's just a little programming trick to make it easier.
So it's effectively a tachometer.
Yeah. These buses are not easy to drive either. Okay, let's see what happens when we get to the straightaway. How fast can I get this thing going is the question. Oh, come on. There it is.
What's 88 miles an hour in kilometers?
I think. Oh, what is.
We gotta get. I'm pretty sure we're past it now.
Drastic system.
Shy of
130.
130.
Okay.
All right. So 189. We're doing pretty good. 200 kilometers an hour.
And
Man,
we've got a lot of ramp up here.
think of what your commute would be like if this was how your bus drove.
You know what? With dedicated bus lanes, I believe we can achieve this future. How are the brakes?
Let's.
Oh wow, the brakes aren't bad actually. Not.
There's what is it? There's LRT, light rail transit. This would be like heavy bus transit. Very rapid. Yeah.
Big Hoon Transit.
I was very annoyed by our local transit thing because they spent a long time talking up something called the Dart Bus, which is a thing that they put in a couple years ago to go from like downtown Victoria out to some of the farther away places.
Yeah.
And they're like, it's great, you know, it's going to be a special thing, and I feel like it's one of those projects that was like, it's going to be LRT. Okay, well we can't get the planning and can't get the money, can't get the thing. Okay, well it'll be a dedicated bus lane, so then it's not as good as LRT, but it'll still be a dedicated thing. Oh, we can't do that. We can't do the planning. Can't get the money and stuff. Okay, well, it'll be a bus that is like an express bus, like it doesn't stop at quite so many places.
Yeah.
But it's still those little things, and they're like, well, but it should actually stop at places so people can. And it's like, so we basically just like, it's just another bus.
It's
is
a
what you
standard
made.
bus.
Yeah. You've just made a normal bus.
Back to buses. Let's see, we got this little tuk thing, which was too fast, so we had to take that away.
The tuk was too fast.
We got the Plymouth Prowler.
Ooh.
Cars that you don't see very often.
Is it like a hearse?
The Mini, yeah. Oh, yeah. There's some hearses. We've got the Reliant Robin.
Does it drive as if it is three wheels?
You know
does
what?
is it like a virtual?
Let's drive it once.
I wonder if it's got like it's like two invisible wheels and just a thing for show.
Oh no, Paul.
No?
Why? Wait.
It's just surprising that they actually have the physics set up for two-wheeled cars or three-wheeled cars.
Why is he in the back? Oh my god, I've never seen my head before.
Ah! Wait, yeah, you're driving from the back seat.
Like I said, some of these cars have more put into them than others. But,
Oh, yeah, I can see it dipping back and forth. No, that's the Reliant Robin I know and love.
Yep.
Again, most of my exposure is, of course, from Top Gear, where they continually made a joke out of it falling over at every single turn.
That and Mr. Bean. Can I get around this corner at all? Nope. There we go. Woohoo!
Ah! This is why they had to recall the Reliant Robin. It had all sorts of physics glitches.
Once you crashed once, you couldn't stop crashing. It was really weird. Oh, almost to space. That would have been great. All right, just a couple more highlights here of some ridiculousness. More buses. I really like the bus. Okay, we should absolutely try to do a little bit of work in the sushi.
Right, driving the sushi around. Now, the sushi, I can't help but notice, doesn't have wheels.
No.
Does it actually have wheels? They're just like invisible? Or is it like a zero friction bottom that slides along?
I think you would have to have wheels.
What happens if you break your windshield?
Good question.
Is there rice all over the road?
That should have broken something. Uh-oh. Sushi managed to find its way to the...
I feel like I can forgive these guys for maybe getting in your way during the race, if that's their view.
They want to go very quickly.
I mean, we've never put a giant piece of sushi around Le Mans. We don't know how well it would do. Maybe this is accurate.
Well, definitely...
Why won't they fund my research?
It's extremely aerodynamic, I've got to say that for it.
Do different fish drive differently?
I think what you want is that smooth top to create the downforce, and then you get the
Right,
the underneath
right.
has the breaking up of the air effect, so you get better flow. Oh god, they've got 6 gears. That's probably another reason why they're too fast.
6 gears?
Yeah. Oh yeah, I think I could get a good time in this.
Yeah, casual 250 kilometers an hour. Oh no.
You know what, Paul? We would absolutely not get...
Did you just burn out your engine? What happened?
I sure did.
Wow.
Redline that thing for a good 20 seconds, and that blows up the engine. There's still so much...
Now we can see why nobody has ever successfully driven a giant piece of sushi around Le Mans.
Yeah.
They don't have the staying power.
Stamina. I mean, it's supposed to be a one-bite meal, right?
That's true. It's true. Good old forklift.
Yeah, you can see that if you'd like by watching last year's or 2 years ago's What Do You Run Subathon. It's just a regular truck. Wow, I have so many trucks.
Big trucks.
Okay, so that's most of the ridiculousness that I've
Have
added here.
they pulled in some of the trucks from like Euro Truck Simulator and stuff? I wonder if they
Probably. I mean, the buses definitely make up for that. And this is definitely a... that's a Japanese. So that's not Euro at all. I'm pretty sure I had a Scania in here at some point.
If you're driving sushi, then the wasabi is your nitro.
Yeah. There's this Polish donkey truck.
Nice.
Regular old motorhome.
I do like the ones where they're so big that they don't fit into the preview picture.
Yeah. But I think what we're going to do here to end things off is I'm going to get back in that car that we just had and do a real quick lap here. See how...
So we're back into like a real Le Mans car?
Yeah, this is one of the first cars I ever drove on Le Mans. And, let's just do a quick practice lap. Whoa. Driver's seat. There we go. Wow, that's too much power.
You're not used to driving an actual race car around the track.
No, not at all.
Also, it's pretty obnoxious that they put their name right on your windshield like that.
There we go. I've got downforce now, but I'm not sure about my tires. No, tires are good.
Right, there's that thing of you have to actually go fast. So they're modeling all the downforce and stuff, eh?
Absolutely, they are. Uh-oh. Well, I've already cut one. Well, no, it didn't say I cut that time, so we're good.
I guess so much of like real world car like there's so much actual like real world car simulation, you know, because they're simulating the cars to get the ideal downforce and modeling and flow and all that stuff. They have incredibly accurate, sophisticated simulations. So, you know, that technology is then just sort of taking a kind of a little bit stripped down version of that and putting it into an actual gaming thing. It's not that it is not that big a stretch.
Well, I think what they're doing a lot of the time is rather than actually modeling the air in game, I think they're doing some shortcuts and saying
Sure,
that
yeah,
this,
yeah.
Unlike GTA, what was it, 3? For the, I think it was for the PlayStation 2 at that time. One of the GTA games, when they were porting it to a console, ran too fast because the hardware was just too fast for what it was originally programmed for.
Oh, wow.
And so the solution that the devs came up with was to increase the density of air. And that got everything moving slow enough. So I guess in that game they were modeling the air.
It's so weird. That's what not you know, do something to like just, you know, put in a sleep or something in the cycle. Wow.
No, just change the physics of the Earth that you're existing on. Ah. Oh boy, this is a very twitchy car if you let it be. Yeah, we're not getting the 4 minute on this, I think. Or are we? We should also mention that the custom shader patch, one of the things that's used to make this game look good, along with the aforementioned post-processors, also is responsible for the meme quote of rain is a paid feature only, because it was and remains.
Wait, that was a single Gantt.
That's right. Assetto Corsa required a pretty large adjustment to the fan base in terms of accepting the number of Gants.
It has to. They had to reserve some of the Gantt processing for the car physics.
Yeah, we have to rely on a scant Gantt. All right. Finish up the lap nice and clean. There's, in a car like this, it gets up to, I'm going to say bus levels of speed. Yeah, Speed would have been a very different movie if they'd been using those buses.
It's like if you go below 50 miles an hour, okay, that's not going to be a problem. Unless I spin out.
Is there an upper limit, Mr. Bomb Man? What? No. What, are you trying to get people killed? That's my job.
He's going to be like, what the? I didn't think the bomb only activates when you go above 50 miles an hour. I didn't think it would happen so fast.
Yep, this game and this track have absolutely sold me on the idea of image training.
Image training?
It's the type of training that athletes will do, not just in car racing, but you'll often hear it referred to during the Winter Olympics for luge and bobsled. Is the idea of you're actually in your head watching the track and going through it just in your mind. And going through the turn, takes about this long to get down to the next turn, so you need to get on the brake, turn into the thing, get back on the gas, shift back up to the second, and I've just gone through Gantt.
Because once the idea is you have to you want to make it so second nature that you're thinking about other stuff rather than the actual
exactly you're
minute to minute movement.
Your consciousness is now here to deal with things that come up, because this is why I say that racing is in its own way kind of like a rhythm game. You're doing the same motions again and again.
Right.
Hopefully in the same timing, in order to get a result.
I mean, especially especially if you're doing like a NASCAR race or something where it is literally just going around in a circle. So it is literally sort of a rhythmic thing, and just how you're interacting with the other cars.
Exactly. They get in the way of you finding that perfect line and just riding that perfect line to the end.
Although I guess when you're like a longer, like a big sort of rally or something, is then a whole other thing. That's when you're sort of
a rally racing is even more so a rhythm game, because you are literally just responding to calls from a guy that you ostensibly already know the direction yourself, but they're not based on the lowest time. They're generally the good rallies are based on being as close to the applied time as possible. Make no mistakes, effectively.
I always liked the it's like the scene in is it Cool Runnings, where they're like the four of them are sitting in bathtub and they're like, turn one, turn two.
That's essentially image training.
Yeah.
That's exactly it.
And I mean, I guess these days a lot of people, they'll actually do, not necessarily with Assetto Corsa, but actually do simulator stuff. I remember like during the pandemic, a bunch of real race drivers were doing simulator things and being kind of assholes about it. But
but Drowson brings up a great point here. After 1,500 laps around Le Mans, I'm surprised you didn't already know it blindfold again. Last year, we were having some issues with video cutouts happening quite regularly.
To the stream or to you?
Just to the screen.
Oh, okay.
And I found out that I was, in many places, able to hold turns and keep myself from crashing and on the course through these things. Can't do a whole lap, but I can definitely, I know if I'm coming into a turn and I lose the video, I can say, okay, I know the timing here, and let's just do it and hope it comes back and we're through.
I mean, I don't want to toot my horn, but I have driven the desert bus for like half an hour without looking at the screen. That's basically the same.
Exactly.
That happened. There was one time where we were, I forget what we were doing. Oh, we were showing off something, and I think we were like showing off another game, and so we just like changed the input on the TV to something else and showed that for a while, and then I think I was doing it for a while, and then I think somebody else was doing it for a while, and just if you just rhythmically hit the button at the right time,
not overzealous with it.
Yeah,
you don't even need the sound. Well, on that note of mutual mastery, I think we're going to call this episode of Tinker, Tailor, Solder, Fry to a close. Thank you again, Paul, for joining me and chatting well.
Now you. Just to close here, you said that after 10 years, 24 hours of Le Mans is something that you're not necessarily going to be doing again, but that doesn't necessarily preclude other driving stuff, of course.
Exactly, and I intend to actually do some races throughout the year that are also endurance races. And, I was thinking, we could do 12-hour races. We could do 6 hours. We could even do 3-hour races. I mean, there's... and there's so many tracks, but
Are there any like in Assetto Corsa or Project Cars or whatever? Are there any like really long, like whatever 2 or 3 hour track that's just one long run, not a circle?
I have mentioned this a number of times on the channel whenever I talk about racing, and I'm going to give you a little preview of maybe what one of these things will be. Let's go with the E86. E86. This is.
Is there a Dakar racing? Dakar racing? Is it Dakar?
Actually, there are Dakar racing games.
Dakar
yeah.
racing games?
But I do want to keep using Assetto Corsa because I love this paddock of ridiculous cars we've managed to put together.
It's true.
And I would love to maybe see them on something like a Laguna Seca down in Florida. That one with the amazing turns with the corkscrew. But when it comes to
I
just
bet a bus would be great at that.
when it comes to just driving around and really long things, they've had some people make tracks that are just the road up to Lake Louise in Jasper.
Oh, neat.
Not really that well modeled in terms of trees and whatnot, but it's still a good location. But there's a group of people out there who have released this, which is called the Shutoku Revival Project. And what you're seeing here is a extremely faithful recreation.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
right.
yeah. What you're seeing, Paul, and what you're seeing at home now is an extremely faithful recreation of the Tokyo Expressway. For all that matters. And just gorgeous buildings, gorgeous everything. I'm going to see if I can find the Rainbow Bridge here pretty quickly, but sometimes I have just sat down and put myself at, a faster than normal speed, but not overly fast, and just driven around Tokyo for hours.
So this is this almost like an open world thing? Like you can drive around?
Essentially. It doesn't have all the streets open. It is only the expressway, but that covers a lot of road around here. In fact,
I remember seeing a thing of, you were talking about the new Forza Horizon.
Right.
And I saw a thing a few months ago about the new like Japan course that they released, whole thing, and people were a little frustrated because they're like, hey, wait a minute, this is not. It's like there were like a bunch of sort of Japanese, like well-known Japanese landmarks and bits of road, but then they were connected in a way that is not at all
nonsensical.
Accurate.
Yeah, it's an amazing pastiche, but this is a true recreation, and this is just free. You can just go out and download this if you've got Assetto Corsa, and take
is this one of the things, like, do they keep like expanding it and adding, like, getting as they add more?
They are adding more and more of the roadway every day. They have already added mods that allow for traffic to be added. Ooh. And if you want to race, they run their own servers with approved lists of cars, so that they're Japan accurate.
Right. I want to play like Crazy Taxi or something
on this. Yeah. But yeah, there could be in the future simply just a Ian and guests drive around Tokyo while we chat about what have you. Especially, it's especially beautiful in the nighttime as well, but gives you a good idea of what it looks like. And we're gonna crash out. So,
does this do the Assetto Corsa? Does it do the like simulation of the like current weather at that location?
It can. Actually, sorry, you also asked about apps. These are the apps that come along the side here. For one, this onboard settings is a built-in one, but it'll auto-position you in the car where it thinks you're supposed to be, which changes and is important. But this here, this entire little cluster, that's its own app as well, as is this thing, as is this bit.
So none of that is actually native to Assetto Corsa.
No. And then you can plan your weather.
Ooh.
And in fact, change your time. So you should be getting... hold on. Let's make time really go. See the clouds already.
Oh yeah. Ah!
Come on. Oh, 1,000% is as fast as it can go.
Zoom.
But we'll hit night in just a second here, and that will change everything. Go away, onboard settings. Head into downtown, have a look at the Tokyo Tower at night.
Very nice.
There you go. Now we don't even need to go to Japan. I especially like that they've gotten all in some of these areas where you're getting closer to a built-in population. The billboards themselves are also accurate.
I've often thought that, you know, both for like driving things and for games, even, you know, just like games where you're just walking around, but that it would be kind of an interesting idea for a stream, just to like, I don't know, I've been fascinated, especially in the like modern era of like messing around with in the like the Assassin's Creed games, because you can put it into, there's like a
Museum mode, right? Is that what's
or
called?
Exploration mode or something. Anyway, there's like a mode, yeah, where there's like no conflict and stuff. You just go around, and it's supposed to be for, you know, you can learn about the different monuments and stuff. But what I find fascinating is that I don't know how they make the world, but like, I feel like it's maybe taking real, whatever the topographic maps from somewhere, because there's all sorts of just like weird. There'll be like a weird little cave that there's nothing in, and there's no reason for it to be there, or like,
But it might just be there.
or like the entire like there's a lake, and like the entire floor of the lake is completely modeled and has all sorts of really interesting weird stuff in it.
But you're never going to go there in the
And
game.
like, and like swimming isn't even like a big thing in the game.
No.
And it's like they modeled it completely and then just like filled it with water like it would be in real. I was just like, I don't know. I was thinking, I was thinking that like just sort of a real chill stream of just like wandering around and looking at stuff
Yeah.
in all sorts of different games.
Just go. Just
Would be kind of a fun
go
thing to
for
do.
a stroll.
Yeah.
Thing. Yeah, I think that's a great idea.
Or the thing, I remember, was it you and Beach that were playing like that like train simulation
yes, yeah.
one?
The Den Should They Go? Yeah.
But
Another good one. But yeah, that's going to do it for Tinker Tailor Solder Fry for this week. Thanks so much, everyone, for watching. Thank you, Paul, for hanging out and bouncing off me. This has been a lot of fun.
very interesting stuff.
Yeah, I tend to think so. But if you like what you see, once again, we want to remind you to go to patreon.com/loadingreadyrun, which is the place to be if you want to help us out on a regular basis. You can, of course, also sub here at twitch.tv/loadingreadyrun when we are broadcasting, like we are now, but won't be later. And store.loadingreadyrun.com if you want to get yourself something nice for yourself. YouTube has stuff too, but it's always changing and complicated. So donate there at your own peril. But from myself and Paul, thanks so much for watching, and we will see you in more than a fortnight, never in fortnight, ever forward, learning out of spite. Good night.